Well, you know, there's one thing I really fucking detest in this world is censorship. And when someone does something to someone's work, that's pretty fucked up. And I'm going to show you something here. Picked up this book on eBay, The Bouncer, by David Gordon. And if you like New York and stuff like that, this is a pretty cool fucking book. As a matter of fact, I think it's up to 5 different ones. But I got to show you something. Like I said, I bought this off of eBay. And when I started flipping through it, or reading it rather, I ran into something. I don't know if you can see these things that they're ball-pointed penned out. That's on the page 11, or only up to page 11. Next page is another one inked out. Bottom line is, whoever had this before they sold it, here's more. This is the whole book, the whole book. Somebody actually went through this book and read it with a ballpoint pen in hand and knocked off all the curse words. First off, this is completely unacceptable. You don't like what was written there, you stop reading it, you get rid of the book, sell it, whatever. You don't fucking go through the book and cross off everything you don't like with a fucking pen. That, my friends, is fucking bullshit, and that brings me to what's going on right now. After many trials and tribulations, I have finally got this thing back in print with a new prequel sequence, unedited stories, because again, and here's the back, this cover was drawn by Gregory Giordano, and it's really good artwork and stuff. There's a few people involved in this thing here that deserve credit, because this thing is finally where it's supposed to be. Finally. And first off, thanks to my editor, Lorena Fahey's, my girl there, who basically was the one who found out that previous volumes of this were completely fucked up and fucked around with and changed. Also, Kelly Manhart for helping with the artwork. Colin Rogers for creating the art for the first book, which I put in here. And James Nestor, who created the drawing of Nydia, which is in here. This has all 3 of the books in here. I conceived this thing back in 2014. It was put out in a limited run of 100 copies, which sold out. Which basically, people were going, you're gonna follow it up, you're gonna follow it up. Well, I did with 2 other books. But therein lies the problem. When someone is hired to edit a book, they're supposed to lay it out and keep it true to the vision of the author. That's not what happened in this case. What I didn't realize was that actual whole paragraphs were left out of these books. Granted, this book is going to be rough. It's going to be a rough read. It's the end of the world. It's very politically incorrect. It has language that might trigger a lot of people because a lot of people are so fucking sensitive today. But it's a homage. It's the end of the world, and it's basically what happens, and unfortunately this is coming for fruition. The whole world burns up from fucking heat and solar flares. And all the water evaporates except anything stored in a glass or plastic bottle, which leaves a lot of liquor around, which leaves a lot of people getting fucked up and shooting each other with these drunken brawls. Well, there's a guy who's the ruler of the wasteland, the drunken master, whose hand was crippled in the gunfight with El Rocho Rio, and now he puts 100 cases of water out as a bounty for El Rocho Rio, which basically draws the worst of the worst looking to claim the reward. You have characters that basically, well, let's put it this way. Think The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly meets Mad Max meets El Topo. You have the blind man and his companion dog, and blind man's not really blind, he's just really fucking nearsighted, so he needs a shotgun to take care of his enemies. You have Nydia, a half Mexican, half Irish roller derby queen, who's wicked with a knife. You have the bad guys. You have Ruby the Dyke. You have the cop. You have Coffin Jack. You have a bunch of fucking people that you wouldn't want to have as neighbors. And basically it all culminates in a battle for the master's compound. Again, people were very happy with this thing. Like I said, you know, the first run sold 100 copies, you know, of a really bad covered book, so we changed the cover. And I went into a sequel called Unhappy Hour. And in this one, the remnants of ISIS have surfaced and are basically killing the survivors. So think of a reverse Magnificent Seven, where Blind Man and his companions have to go out and find people that are a lot fucking worse than they are and enlist them to help fight against ISIS. More cool characters involved. And then the third book, Last Call with a question mark, is basically, and people might get pissed off at this, it's basically the former president of the United States who is living in this horrible fucking place, and he has a disease that he needs blood to cure. And there's one type of blood that can cure him, and guess who has that blood type? The blind man, that's who. So, in this book, and I'm really proud of it, I think it's one of the best things I've ever done. It's the most fun I've ever had writing something. It basically kicks ass from start to finish. There's no filler, there's no romantic subplots, there's no describing a bunch of fucking horse shit in the background, because I hate that. This book will slam you from start to finish. And right now, and it's going to be this way, the only place you can get this book is from me. 42nd Street Pete. It's not going to be on Amazon, it's not going to be online because of the fucking bullshit I had to deal with Grindhouse Resurrection and that getting rejected. So I am not going to put any fucking money into these companies' fucking pockets. If you want the book, it's simple. $25 shipped to Mr. 42nd Street Pete. That's MR42ND, Street spelled out, Pete spelled out, at yahoo.com. That's my PayPal. $25 shipped. If you want it signed, personalized, whatever, let me know. And above all, leave the address so I know where to send it, because some people don't do that. Now, while I'm on that kick, I still have maybe a dozen or so of my old autobiography, A Whole Bag of Crazy, available for the same price. And I just got more of, where did I put it? Two-Fisted Tales of Times Square back in, and this is $20 shipped. Honestly, you can only get these from me. The Two-Fisted Tales of Times Square had 140 copies as of now, print run. So they're not all over the place. You're not going to find them on Amazon. You're not going to find them anywhere but me. And that's that. And that's the way it's going to be from now on. So if you buy all three, I'm going to throw in something cool like a back issue of Grindhouse Purgatory or something like that. But anyway, again, the PayPal address is Mr. 42nd Street Pete at yahoo.com. It's MR42ND, Street spelled out, Pete spelled out, at yahoo.com. And going back to Gunfighters, if you're a Western fan, spaghetti Western fan, whatever, you're going to find some, little homages thrown in here and there about certain Westerns which you will recognize. And I'm just going to read you a quote from the late, great Gary Kent, writer, actor, stuntman, Hall of Famer, who said, "Gunfighters reads like cinema, like Mad Max only with balls. Where else can you hang with an army consisting of 2 men, 6 women, a dog called Dog, and there is enough testosterone in these books to float a fucking aircraft carrier, just saying." And I'll be honest with you, unfortunately, Gary's no longer with us, as is Gary Clark, and Gary Clark and I were going to go up to a cabin in the woods for a month and hammer out a screenplay, because Gary Clark honestly believed there was a couple movies in here and he wanted to see it happen. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. And my old friend and mentor, Jack Ketchum, always wanted to know what I could do with fiction, and to be honest with you, he was impressed with this whole thing. And unfortunately, these 3 gentlemen are no longer with us, but I wrote this dedicated to those guys, because those guys were the real gunfighters. So if you're interested, you know what to do. And again, you're not going to find this anywhere else. I mean, I'll put it on eBay because it's exclusively through me, but it's not going to go on fucking Amazon, and it's not watered down. See, that's the whole problem. I don't water down shit. I don't censor myself. Like I said, unfortunately, I wasn't on top of the situation and didn't know that, the last time around stuff was taken out. And it's not an editor's job to do. It's not an editor's job to fuck with the creative input of the artist. And I don't know why it was done, but I know better now, and I also know that the guy who did it isn't going anywhere, because all he does is sit around and write blogs about how depressed he is. Well, something, if I were you, I'd be depressed too. But I'm not going to be depressed. I'm going to keep this going, because, something? Artists got to stand tall. Creators got to stand tall in a world where everything's being taken away from them and they're getting thrown the fucking crumbs. I refuse to take the crumbs. Not that I'm going to make a fucking fortune on this. If I sell, a handful of fucking books, I'm happy. But I'll be honest with you, everybody who has read these previously really liked them. There was never a bad review for them. So I'll go on record as saying this could be one of the best things I've ever done. It's completely entertaining. It's completely off the charts. It's, like I said, it's politically incorrect, and we're damn proud of it because it's the end of the fucking world. There is no politically correctness. It's dog eat dog. Everybody's out to survive. So really, I think you're going to like this if you want to check it out, and I hope you do. And please, if you do buy it and read it, let me know what you think about it, because feedback is important, because honestly, I left it open for another sequel. So maybe the blind man will ride again, but that's up to you, my friends. So until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.